TJ McMillen, the recruit they got out of Wheaton St. Francis, 3-star offensive lineman. He's the third member of the class of 2023. And Illinois did I think, a really good job of keeping a relationship, offering when it felt right for probably everybody, and closing that thing down, because TJ McMillen had some offers. And when you talk about offer lists, look at like recency is something to pay attention to. Follow the offers, follow the visits. People were starting to come at this guy, and Illinois did a good job of getting in there, locking it down, and adding probably a true center to what they're going to do long term.
Yeah, Illinois offered TJ McMillen on May 13th, 2022. I saw him at the North Central camp back at last June. And, soon after that, he was receiving offers from Missouri, TCU. Previously, had gotten offers from Texas Tech, Penn State, Arizona State, Syracuse, right? So, like, he was getting big-time offers. Then Purdue offered earlier this month. Kansas State, Ole Miss offered earlier this month. But Illinois had been recruiting him. They had been developing a relationship with him, and then they offered him on May 13th. They're thinking, boy, that's late, because one thing this staff has done extremely well, Joey, is get in early on guys. Caden Fagan, it was really important to get in early. I think Malik Elzy, Jair Hill, some of the top 10 guys are going in on. But some guys have gotten in a little later. Damon Walters, a top 10 prospect, a safety out of Bolingbrook, and now TJ McMillen. But they developed a strong enough relationship, and I think McMillen didn't care about that stuff. He didn't care about posting an Illinois offer last year as opposed to this year. He cared about the fit. And he saw with Brett Bielema and Bart Miller, guys who have developed a lot of centers who have gone on the NFL, Travis Frederick being one of those. With Bielema, it's Frank Ragnow, right? Travis Swanson, a lot of NFL draft picks, and now Doug Kramer, who I thought had an even better year. I mean, he did well under Lovie Smith and all the coaches there, but I thought he had a great year this past year, and he's an NFL draft pick, even though, a little undersized, as we always like to say. TJ McMillen sees that and sees a really good fit in state, and they close. So a heck of a job for Illinois. I think this is a heck of a recruiting win. Top 20 in-state prospect. I think it was a feel-good one after missing out on a guy you felt good about in Roderick Pierce and him committing to Wisconsin. I think it's a big-time recruiting win, and the exact kind of guy you want to get in state to build that offensive line, because this is the guy who's left the state. This is the guy who's gone to Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin to go play for those good programs. Bielema's got an offensive line identity, and you add a player like this who's a son of a coach, Bob McMillan, Arena Football League player, Arena Football League coach. I think he won some Arena Football League championships. Now he's his coach at St. Francis and Wheaton. So, he's going to play with intensity. He's extremely quick. I think you got a really good thing on the interior with Josh Kreutz, TJ McMillan, Dylan Davis, Joey Okla, Clayton Leonard. Like, there's some really good options where I think you're going to have, some long-term starters there and also potentially some team captains.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. First, are there royalties Frank Ragnow can get for every interior offensive lineman that Brett Bielema gets? That's a name that comes up a lot. Bielema is smart on social media, making sure it's known on his Twitter timeline that he coached Frank Ragnow when the opportunity presents itself. But yeah, man, this is a guy who gets out, who has gotten out time and time again. And I think when the recruiting process, everyone, us included at times, and there's reason to think this, it's not always be first for the sake of being first. You got to read what matters to the kids. And some kids, that certainly does matter, like to be the ones who gave them, like, I get it. That certainly matters.
Yeah, I will say it's always better for a program like Illinois to get in early, usually.
Yeah.
Usually it is better.
Yeah. But the point with McMillan is Illinois was kind of in early on him. It's not like they just realized who this kid was May 13th. Right. Obviously, they had seen it, and we've talked about, and I know you've talked to Jeremy, guys who have said, oh yeah, we've been talking for a while and they just offered, and that doesn't always work. And maybe, in fact, more times than not, it doesn't work to not be out in front like that. But I think there is a process. I mean, I just think we got to kind of get over sometimes, okay, they offered May 13th. When did you know about this guy kind of deal? Because they've been doing their homework on some of this, and part of their job is to read the pressure points of a recruitment. And they must have read TJ McMillan's correctly enough to understand what worked, what didn't. That's a big win. I mean, I know we talked yesterday, Jeremy. That's kind of the biggest offensive line recruiting win we think of this staff. Yeah, that's you fought off some Power 5 offers, closed it down early. Didn't he was blowing up, relatively speaking, but didn't really ever let him fully blow up. There probably would have been more offers. I think it would be foolish to say there wasn't going to be. So that was a good job getting in there, closing it down, and you're continuing this makeover on the offensive line. And I know we talked. There are 5 freshmen, incoming freshmen this summer in the class of 22 on the offensive line. There are 5 combined from the classes of 2018, 19, 20, and 21 still on the roster. You got to make it over. And by that, you got to get bodies. You got to get some good recruiting wins. And this is another one in that. This is now 6 prep offensive linemen in the last 2 classes. We don't expect that to be done. You're starting to see Brett realizes this is kind of his calling and hitting on it.